Or maybe it's a suggestion. Hey, you bought another video game. Please buy your spouse something nice. But you know what, though? I don't want to genderize it like that because I got to tell you, I think Donkey Kong is for everybody. I think men love Donkey Kong, women love Donkey Kong, white people love Donkey Kong, black people love Donkey Kong. Everybody loves Donkey Kong. There's no difference. It's the thing that brings people together. For over 1,000 years. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Andy B Show, a video game podcast. I'm so glad you're here. I can't believe we're here for another week together. I think this is episode 9. I did record a special episode that's only on the Patreon, patreon.com/the Andy B Show. You can go check it out, subscribe if you'd like. The Patreon's free, but that one, you got to be a friend of the show. You got to subscribe for that one. It's a crazy week. It's been a wild week on the home front for me. Dealing with some medical issues at home, and it's good to kind of get an episode in. There's still been a lot of video game stuff. Everybody's good, by the way. Thanks for asking. Things are on the mend where they're supposed to be. But when there's an upending in your world, kicking you out of the normal routine, you're like, well, how do I get back into it? And sometimes it can take a while. And this is one of the pieces of the normal routine that I'm like keeping on lock because Monday at 11 a.m. Central, y'all are expecting an episode of the Andy B Show, and I can provide. I did record a special episode on the Patreon. In part, they're called early access episodes. I'm going to do about one a month there, telling some stories that I might not get to on the weekly show. We talked about what it was like to find a Nintendo 64 back in 1996 before the internet was big and you could just track stock numbers everywhere. Next, I'm going to be talking about the 1993 Blockbuster Video Game World Championship. So if you don't want to miss out on some of those special stories, go to Patreon and sign up. What else is going on that's like hot this week? Let me just tell you this. In my hand, I'm holding the new issue. It's still in its cellophane wrap of Game Informer. There is a punk rock looking Borderlands 4 dude on it. And supposedly the paper quality is just pristine. That's what they say. They've relaunched Game Informer out of the ashes. If you don't remember, Game Informer used to be part of GameStop. And I think it was that way for a long time. Actually, don't know when that kicked over. Game Informer's been around since 91. GameStop was probably like part of like EB Games or Babbage's, or you'd have to go back and figure out exactly how far back and where the lineage of like the game store started. But at some point they got really closely intertwined with like having a pro membership at GameStop. You give GameStop $20, they give you a couple discounts and trade-in boosts or whatever. Like the days of going like bananas on trade-ins over at GameStop are long gone with that program, but they would have some boosts and stuff in there for a while that would really made it worth it if you were buying physical games and trading them in, playing them, and you could do really well. You could game a lot of times for free. I even ended up getting some consoles for next to nothing as I would upgrade the old one with the trade-in like multiplier. If I bring in X number of games, it does a multiplier on the trade. There's a reason they shut the program down. They had to shut the program down because people could min-max it. There were folks on the internet, on the cheap-ass gamer forums, on Reddit and elsewhere that would go, oh, wait, hold on. If I bring in 7 games, including some garbage games that I could buy at GameStop, and then go in the parking lot, and then bring them back in with the rest of the trade-ins, and it would create this multiplier, this boost. So I think when I got my Xbox One, I traded in an Xbox 360, rest in peace, Xbox 360, and a bunch of games, and I think I walked out with one for next to free. It was nuts. Anyway, program aside, they would give away Game Informer with the subscription to that yearly pro membership all up until around last year. And you get a physical copy of it. And I've had physical copies of Game Magazine, specifically Game Informer, as well as others, for years and years and years. And I've always enjoyed, going to Barnes and Noble or whatever bookstore, especially after a meal, because you know what's going to happen at the bookstore. But anyway, looking at the game magazines, Edge Game Magazine, Game Informer, Nintendo Power back in the day, the official Xbox magazine or PlayStation magazine that would have the disc with all the demos. It was a fun way to kind of go, hey, I got a little piece of gaming in my hand for like $5. And when I was a kid, mom or dad's like, okay, $5 is fine because $60 for Super Mario World or whatever is a little much, but $5. And it was almost as good. You could read about all the games, but especially pre-internet, it was like, well, how do you find out about these games? Pre-internet. And even when the internet was big, the magazines weren't putting all that content on the website. That was niche. It was a long time before you could get a magazine quality experience out of the web where it was like, hey, we all came together and did this package. We think this is a good piece of content known as a magazine, and we're pushing it out to you. It was probably until the iPad came around, and even then it was not great. Like some of those early like iPad versions of these magazines were not great experiences to read because the screen wasn't quite big enough. Like the 8 or 9 inch screen just isn't quite there. Even the 10 or 11 inch screen, by the time it's like, well, how big is the magazine? 8.5 by 11. So it's like the max but that's 8.5 by 11, not diagonal. So what's the diagonal? Oh my gosh. Okay, fine. I'm going to look it up. I can't do the math. How long is a standard magazine page size? Somebody knows this. At its longest diagonal point. Let's find out. I can't just keep guessing about it. 13.9 inches. Thank you, Pythagorean theorem. I knew there was a way to calculate it, but I wasn't even going to try to do it live. So, yeah, 13.9 inches. So you'd have this iPad, which was amazing in the 2000s, and you go, oh, magazines on the iPad look great. It's like, yeah, but the difference between like 13.9 inches and 11 inches in screen size is, way more than you think, especially when you're trying to look at, the detail of a magazine to make it look nice. So I've been saving this all week. I was like, oh, this will be nice for the weekend. This will be nice for an Epsom salt bath. Hop into the bath, pour the Epsom salts in, crack that Game Informer open. I can't wait to see it. But as a subscriber, this is not a cross promotion. I'm just interested in. Yeah, I don't have any sponsors. As of this recording, no sponsors. Call me Game Informer. Give me an affiliate code. Like we could talk about it. I really talk about stuff in this show that I care about. At some point, to help offset the cost of the show, I may start doing some, product drops or sponsorships or something. But here's my promise to you: it's never going to be something I don't give a rip about. Like I shouldn't even say it. I've been using this app for 7 or 8 weeks, a couple months, called brain.fm, which gives you like music that you can just, and sometimes not even music. It's like these acoustic experiences for your ears that are designed to like calm your brain down and let you go to work or to focus on things around the house or whatever. Right. And so they pitch it really as like the ADHD, like, hey, if you have attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, like this is gonna, they've got some kind of peer reviewed back to research that I have not read that says that it's going to calm your brain down and let you focus. I don't know if it's real. I know that for me, it super works. And they have an affiliate program. I was like, you know what? Maybe my audience would like that. I wonder. But you can also support the show just by going to the Patreon if you want financially, and you don't have to. You listening and liking and reviewing the show is plenty. And for those of you that have done that, thank you. Like that's all I need. But I may, something that I'm passionate about, if they have an affiliate program, I might bring it. Let me know what you think. Like, is that, scammy or schemy? I've never felt bad about it. Like I like buying from creators I like if they have something that for me costs the same. So I'll probably do that. But Game Informer they're not compensating me for this. I just like it. And I'm glad to have one in my hand. I'm glad the magazine exists because, as you might have heard, they closed it down last year. I think GameStop got bought by some VC-funded, VC-backed company, and they're trying to figure out what to do with it. There's meme stock explosions with GameStop, especially during the pandemic, where like people are buying, selling, trading futures, puts and shorts on GameStop stock that have just made it wild. And so it's become this like weird trading playground because of its meme stock status. And at some point they unwound, sold off, shut down. They shut down the Game Informer magazine. They've been going for over 30 years. And they had just like launched this thing where it's like, hey, you can get 2 years of Game Informer for $40. And I was like, done. Because I was already subscribing. Because that first step was they stopped selling it with the GameStop subscription, the pro subscription, which was the only way to get it. If you wanted a physical copy or even all the digital copies of Game Informer, you could only get it by buying the GameStop Pro membership. They stopped that and said it's no longer a benefit of the GameStop Pro membership. And I was like, then what am I doing here? Because almost all of the games I buy are digital now. So like, what's going on? And then they said, oh yeah, we're having to shut the whole magazine down. They gave me a refund for the 2 years that I had just bought. And I had a big sad. And they let go of all their folks, and that was it. They shut it down. They took it off the website. They took the YouTube channel down. And they had done like reviews and video podcasts and audio podcasts. I'd listened to those. And just tons and tons of video content. And they took it, the socials, they shut it all down. And I'm like, well, what is the internet, man? Like, that stuff's supposed to stick around. But they said, nope. It's an asset that belongs to the company and we're no longer promoting it. And so we're ripping it away. And I'm like, you terrible people. Ugh. It's like the idea that, all the podcasts I'm going to do that would just go away someday. It's like, okay, well, if I ever stop doing the show someday, and I don't plan to, I plan to do this for a long time. I would hate to think that it just went away, like even if nobody's going to go back and look at it, it's like, it's there. A little part of history, right? Anyway, there was a series of events that I don't have all the details on. Game Informer got bought or sold to. They sold off the assets to some company that does give a rip about it. And is like, we're back. So they made sure to rehire all the staff, I guess. And they still had all their printing contracts and vendors and stuff available. And so, 6 months later, they're like, hey, we're selling subscriptions. New magazine is coming out and it's in my hand. I'm super excited about it. So maybe you are too. I don't know, but I'm going to check it out. I still haven't put my fingers on the paper. I plan to do it soon. I'm almost as excited about that as I am about the next big thing of the week for video games, which is Donkey Kong Bonanza. If you aren't playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, no problem. There's only a small subset of folks, probably about 5 million people in the world, that even have the ability to play it. Those are the people that have bought a Nintendo Switch 2. So if you bought a Nintendo Switch 2, you probably have access to it. If you went to Costco.com, like I did, to look at buying the Switch 2, you might have been confronted with this. Oh, hey, if you are on Costco.com, you can buy it, and you're a Costco member, for $62.99. It's like a $7 discount. I loved this part. I had to post this on Threads. You can follow me there, andrew.m.b on Threads. Members also bought a $1,000 14 karat gold band 0.9. Is that quarter carat? Something carat? Bought a $1,000 ring, diamond ring, and some eye cream, some $40 eye cream. So I was like, okay, man, who's buying both Donkey Kong Bonanza and a ring, a gold diamond 14 karat wedding ring, or not even a wedding ring? That's just like a gift ring. Look at that. Yeah, it's like a double looped ring and some eye cream. So the theories abound. Either this is Costco going like, hey man, we don't know. We don't know what you're going to buy. You want to buy a Donkey Kong? Donkey Kong's new. We don't know what to sell you. Maybe that's it. Maybe you should buy this thing for $1,000 or some eye cream. Someone said, oh no, that's based on your history. And I was like, I don't think so. This says customers also bought, right? It's not my history. It's not like you might also like. Then someone said, well, maybe it's the spouse, wife, mom buying it, going like, well, I'm going to get this for the kids or for my husband, Donkey Kong, and I'm getting this ring for me. Or maybe it's a suggestion. Hey, you bought another video game. Please buy your spouse something nice. But you know what, though? I don't want to genderize it like that because I got to tell you, I think Donkey Kong is for everybody. I think men love Donkey Kong, women love Donkey Kong, white people love Donkey Kong, black people love Donkey. Everybody loves Donkey Kong. There's no difference. It's the thing that brings people together for over 1,000 years. However long Donkey Kong's been around, the timeline is squirrely. We talked last week that they said that Pauline in the Donkey Kong game, they announced that she's 13 years old in the game, and that led people going to like, well, what's the timeline for the game? And I got to tell you, I'm not sure I care. I am a little interested, but people got really upset about like me not knowing the timeline or not caring about what the time. I was like, can we get to punching? So I played a couple hours of Donkey Kong Bonanza over the last couple of days, and I would say that game, it has a tutorial that's a little too slow for me. I think it's probably perfect for the kiddos that are like, okay, I'm learning how to punch and stuff, but you're in this mine looking for gold and bananas. And at some point you finally like, there's a cataclysm and then you end up, going down to that first big sunny area that you see in the previews and the trailers. But it takes a while to get there and it feels a little constrained. And as soon as you get to the big open area, that with you're underground further, but it's somehow sunlight. It's like a very Jules Verne, like Journey to the Center of the Earth situation where you're going down, but then there's like different biomes, and suddenly you have this big, beautiful blue sky, ocean, island that you're looking through, trying to find your way, collect everything. But it's further down the center of the Earth. So where's the sun coming from? Well, in Journey to the Center of the Earth, they had the same situation. So I think it's similar. Which is fun. But that's where it felt good. That's where it started to go like, oh yeah, because now you're hunting down these bananas and there's more of them and there's fossils to get and there's maps and things you unlock. And so suddenly that's where the game is like, okay, now I'm a real game. You're not in this kind of dark, the start of it, I wish was in the first area. I think is my only critique so far. I think the other one is I'm getting used to the jump button being on A versus B. Some people are talking about that. I think that's just I haven't played Mario Odyssey in a while. It's probably the same controls. But the way the 4-button layout of the controls is the rightmost button, A, is jump. The bottom button is for you to slam down into the ground or dig down. And the leftmost button is punch forward, and the topmost button is punch up. So once you kind of go, okay, I'm punching out or down or up, and I can jump if I need to, things start to make a lot more sense. But when you collect a banana and it zooms in, just like it does when Mario would collect shines and stars and stuff, and they have this "Oh Banana" song, and I haven't found Pauline yet. She's still like a little rock. I think in the preview they show that she's a rock, and then she turns into Pauline. She's like trapped magically as a rock somehow. Anyway, so it's just me and the rock that we don't know is Pauline yet. Running around this island collecting stuff, and when you find a banana, it goes "Oh Banana" and zooms way in, and then he eats the bananas, and then you unlock skill points, and that's a good game loop. Like that feels, you're like, okay, they did it again. They made the thing, so it feels really good. It took a little while to get started for me, but now that I'm in that first main open area, I'm feeling really great about it. So have you played it? Have you played Donkey Kong Bonanza? There's an opportunity for you to do it, but you gotta buy a lot of stuff. You gotta buy a whole Switch too, and then the game, and then apparently $1,000 ring and some $40 eye cream. Nintendo, just that's Donkey Kong Bonanza, I think. Let's get into some news, because if Donkey Kong Bonanza is not news, then what is? Well, it's still Nintendo for a minute, which is to say, this post here on Threads from Hazador Gaming 9. What's up, Hazador? He said, Nintendo Direct is planned for July after the Donkey Kong Bonanza release. Okay, so it's, as this episode releases, it's July 21st. I recorded a few days early. Somebody named Nate the Hate says, quote, I have been told there is a Nintendo Direct this month, the month of July, but that Direct will not take place until after Donkey Kong Bonanza releases, end quote. Well, as someone who's reading this 5 days after that was posted, I can confirm that they have not had a Nintendo Direct. But what could it be? Someone said on Threads, he said, oh, this slow pace, maybe it was The Verge, this slow pace of video game releases from Nintendo. And I was like, slow pace? Switch came out last month with Mario Kart World, what is probably going to be one of the biggest selling video games of all time again. And then Donkey Kong Bonanza, which based on the Metacritic reviews and my own gameplay, seems amazing. The next month. So what's coming up? Like, okay, what does it take? How much time do you have to I haven't beaten all the races in Mario Kart World. It's going to take me months to get through Donkey Kong Bonanza. We talk a lot about backlogs on this show and how it's okay to have a backlog. I had a video go a video went Andy B viral on TikTok recently, which means he had like 5,000 views. I had one that goes for like 23,000 views. I'm a star. No. And it was about like, hey, it's okay to have a big backlog. Just like you wouldn't want to have a library where you've read every book, you wouldn't want to have a backlog where you've played every game. Because then you have no optionality, you have no reason to go into the library, you have no reason to go into the backlog because you already have done it. You might as well get rid of them. You know, unless it's a reference book and you're a doctor and you're like, well, I should go look that up, right? Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about having a big backlog. So I don't worry about it, you know, so long as I'm not buying games for some other reason than the fact that I would like to enjoy them and I buy them at a reasonable pace that fits within my budget. You have to do things that are smart. So long as you're like smartly putting it into your life, it doesn't matter if you finish the games, if you're enjoying it. You could be a fan. So anyway, I said, like, you know, who's finishing these games that fast where you're bored? Already, the only people doing it are like professionals in the video game, you know, reporting industry, where they're like, well, I had to beat that game for review, so I'm done with it. So where's the next game? Give me. Okay. But you don't represent like the average person who is like probably going to play Mario Kart World for the next like 10 years or even Donkey Kong Bonanza. You know, one of the best video games websites for this is howlongtobeat.com. So if you've never been to howlongtobeat.com, you can go there and you can get people. It's all community driven. So people will put in like, here's how long it took me to beat the game. Here's how long it took me to beat the game plus some extra stuff. Cause there's modern games have extra things. Here's how long it took me to beat the game and do absolutely everything, which on a big game could vary a lot. A lot. And I don't know if they have a rating for Donkey Kong Bonanza yet, because I assume that only these freaks have beaten that game already because it's been out like 2 days. But so here's an example on howlongtobeat.com. They have like, hey, here's some popular games. And you could see the differences between, you know, the delta or whatever between what it could be depending on the game type. So for example, Portal 2, an amazing video game. You want to beat the main story, it takes about 8.5 hours. Now that's based on like how many people have played it and reported into the website. So it's community driven, it's volunteer. So there's a little bit of a skew to the data, but if you get enough data, it's probably pretty accurate, right? So 8.5 hours, you want to do some extra stuff, finding collectibles or whatever, maybe replaying levels, challenge levels, 13.5 hours. Or if you want to do everything, 22.5 hours. It's kind of specific, 22.5. But you could start to find out if you time your games, or modern gaming platforms will tell you how long you've played them. So long as you're not like me, where you just sometimes you'll fall asleep and, you know, in the chair and the video game menu music is playing, then this shouldn't like this should be pretty accurate. So, but I'm usually a little bit slower than all of these, you know. So if it says main story in Portal 2 is 8.5 hours, I'm probably 10, you know, main plus extras 13.5, I'm probably 15. 20, you know. So I tend to go a little bit slower through these. I probably because I get distracted, probably because my phone bings and I'm on to something else. But some of these have wildly different Like, look, Cyberpunk 2077 main story. You can mainline that thing in about 26 hours on average, or median. I think these are median. Like, figures out the most common. But if you want to do everything, it's 107 hours. Hugely different, right? And so when you go like, okay, well, it's okay. Do they have Donkey Kong? Where's the search bar? Donkey Kong has got it going on. Donkey Kong Bonanza. There's already people have done it. They're saying the main story is 18 hours, main plus extra 32 and a half hours. And if you do everything in Donkey Kong Bonanza, 53 and a half hours. Now, mind you, this has been out like 2 days. So these are freaks. Love you, freaks. Love you, people that are like mainlining these Donkey Kong games. But that's what's going on, right? Like, you are not the normal person doing it. If your time entry is suspect. So as more people will put in their actual averages, like, we'll see. So in a few weeks to months, you'll get a good feel for like what that game, we looked at Portal 2. Portal 2 came out like 10 years ago. Those are pretty accurate. I bet they have thousands of people that have done Portal 2. But Donkey Kong can't possibly have had that many people done it. Matter of fact, it gives you, I stopped sharing my screen, but it gives you the amount of people. So all styles, you'll finish that game in about 25 hours. That's like a super median. Only 14 people that have reported in have beat that game. So let's do the math. As I record this, it's Saturday morning, July 19th. That game came out on Thursday, July 17th. And it took some completionist people 53 and a half hours. They did nothing but play that game from the time that it was available to them until now. That's it. That's all they did. Freaks. Love you. Like, cool. I have that kind of time. But some people do. You don't know everybody's numbers. Some people have different times. No problem. There's 292 people playing it. So we'll see what the numbers shake out to. So if you're ever wondering, do I have time for that game? Howlongtobeat.com, great website to kind of find out and gauge, whether you really do or don't. Yeah, we got a lot of news. This is a lot of show. I didn't realize how long I was going to spend talking about Donkey Kong and Game Informer. Let's keep going with the news. Next up, here's another one. I got to tell you, I'm just going to, does Hazador have a Patreon? Hazador Gaming 9 says Bethesda Fallout 5 reportedly fully green lit at the cost of Zenimax's online, now canceled, MMORPG or MMORPG. So, we've been talking about the Microsoft layoffs and how many games got canceled. One of the games that reportedly got canceled was another online RPG by Zenimax. They do the Elder Scrolls Online, which has been pretty popular. I've never played it, but it looks good. I can't play a massively multiplayer online RPG at this stage of my life. I could dabble in one, but I couldn't actually play one. Maybe when the kids are older and they'll play it with me, like maybe we could do it then. But as for now, it's not in the cards. And that's okay. I had my time with World of Warcraft pre-children entering my life, and that was fun. But they're dangerous, man. The time sink is absolutely nuts, and you can't pause the game, and it's tough for parents. Anyway, they're saying that maybe some of the funds have shifted, and Fallout 5 is fully greenlit for production. I'll believe it when I see it. And if it's actually Bethesda building it, it's going to be 10 years. So I'll see you in 10 years, Fallout 5. See you in 10 years, Fallout 5. How could it come any faster if they just have greenlit it? They're going to get into pre-production. I know they want one faster. That Amazon show, they're doing season 2. I think season 2 is in the can. I saw one of the actors say that they're done. They did a wrap on set. So if they can't get a game out, some type of a game, even if it's they just did the Oblivion remastered, like, can they not get a Fallout New Vegas, like, remake, rebuild, remaster, like, way faster, contracted out to that studio or another studio? But if you want to build it the Bethesda way, it takes a Bethesda decade, and they've been busy doing something else. The Elder Scrolls, supposedly. not another Fallout game. So we'll see. No one told me they were mad about this, but I realized that somebody might be mad about it. Which is that when Microsoft announces their new games that are coming to Game Pass, they do a bad job of it. And what I mean by that is when PlayStation Plus announces they have new games coming out, they based it on the month. And they go, hey, it's July's PlayStation Plus games, catalog games. Or here's the free games for July with, right? But Microsoft, I don't even know if they give away games monthly anymore with Xbox Live. I think it's just Game Pass. I think you're either in Game Pass or you're not. You still get free games every month with PlayStation Plus. But either way, both of them have these catalogs where if you subscribe, it's PlayStation Plus game catalog where they add and remove games from it whenever. And sometimes first party games on PlayStation, which is weird. It's like, oh, Horizon Zero Dawn. I guess I have to buy that now. What? Like you put it in there as an older game and now you took it back out. I was very surprised to see that they have not removed Ghost of Tsushima from the PlayStation Plus game catalog. How is that one in there? After they did the Ghost of Yotei State of Play, and I did an off-the-cuff video. It's out there on YouTube and the Patreon. If you want to see my gameplay reactions, which there was some shocking stuff in Ghost of Yotei. Like I was like, wow, this looks way better than I thought. I was not excited about it going in, but they completely subverted my expectations and did a really amazing State of Play for Ghost of Yotei. I fully expected them. Since Ghost of Yotei is coming out October 2nd, and that was a salivatingly good State of Play video about Ghost of Yotei, that they were going to go, you know what? Ghost of Tsushima, you want to play it to kind of like take a little bit of the edge off? You want to have a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima gameplay while you wait for Ghost of Yotei? That's going to be $39.99. But they didn't take it off a game catalog. It's still on there, the director's cut. I should boot that up. I fully expected them to take it off. I don't know why they took off Horizon from the game catalog and not this one. But anyway, they have PlayStation game catalog, and they're constantly adding and removing games to it. They have anywhere from like 200 to 300 games there at any given time. Like if you were somebody that woke up today and you're like, I haven't played games in 5 years. What should I do? What's the best value for the money? You go subscribe to PlayStation game catalog, or you subscribe to Game Pass, or you take $7,000 and you sink it into the Nintendo eShop store. They don't have a subscription with the modern games. If you want their older games, the Switch Online has all those Nintendo classics, now up to the GameCube. Now they have 4 GameCube games on there. I can't wait for them to get to the Wii. I never played Mario Galaxy. Anyway, it makes sense to me. Like I don't know if it's because of my years of working as like a tech project manager person, that I think about weeks. I think in weeks and months. I usually don't think in days. Go, what's going on this week? What's going on this month? Not so much in finance. Otherwise I'd be thinking in quarters. But I do think about what's going on this week and this month. And so when PlayStation comes out and they go, hey, game catalog, games for this month, I was like, cool. Games for the month. Let's see what they are. Game Pass does this thing where they go, here's some games that are coming soon. Xbox UK, we see these games. We see games in your future. These games. And they have this image that says, coming soon. And technically that's true. But when? When should I expect to be able to play these games? Is it now? It's not now. Or you'd have said so. It's soon. But when? I'm sure you might be able to go look up somewhere and figure out when. But they didn't include an article in this link. They just had this picture and it said coming soon. And so honestly, I have no idea when it's actually showing up. It bothers me that there's no way to know. I don't like it. And I gave him that feedback. I said, pretty good month for Game Pass, but it would make more sense to me if you'd actually say these games are coming in a particular month. They're coming soon, but that's not suspicious. Do you think they're going to give a rip about what I have to say? I doubt it. What did they say is coming soon? Grounded 2 game preview. That's the new one from Obsidian, who apparently is the most prolific, studio that they have over there at Microsoft. They have Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers. And I guess that's like a Souls-like that's coming out. It's supposed to be pretty good. Farming Simulator 25. If you haven't played these simulator games like Farming Simulator, they're a little janky, but they're pretty good. Wheel World. I don't know what that is. It doesn't look like Paperboy. It looks like a competitive cycling game where you're fighting ghosts. There's some type of ecto blob here. Something called Abiotic Factor, which has got to be some type of an online battle pass looking game. They got like 3 people holding weird weapons in some type of future techno landscape, and it's also debuting on the PlayStation Plus game catalog. So I don't know. Like the only reason it's going to show up on both Game Pass and PlayStation Plus catalog is because they're like, we need a critical mass of players, and without it, this game will die. That's what that says to me. RoboCop Rogue City. Now, let me tell you something. If you like RoboCop, the movies, first of all, you're around my age, you probably watched them too early as a kid. Those are pretty hard. These are pretty tough movies, violence-wise. And the game is also pretty violent, but it's good. It's a good game. And so that's cool. And if you haven't played that one, I would check it out. I have no idea what My Friendly Neighborhood is, but it looks like a Muppet horror show and something called Back to the Dawn, which has like a fox and a jaguar or a panther dressed in human clothes. So I'm going to say that's a visual novel. I have no idea what it actually is. So, those games looked pretty good games, I think, for a release, but I think they have to tell us. I think they have to tell us when it's coming out. We'll see if they listen to me. Who knows? Cyberpunk 2077 got a new patch this week. They told us like a year or two ago that they're done working on Cyberpunk 2077 over at CD Projekt Red. Liars. Absolute liars. But I don't mind it because they brought Cyberpunk to the Switch too, which I don't have, but I hear the mouse Joy-Con aiming is really, really nice. I would like to try it out. It's on sale right now, I think. It's like 10% off. So if you just bought it at launch, it's just on sale enough to make you mad. It's like, oh, why didn't you give me a launch discount, dude? Come on. They just released that on Mac as well. So if you're like me and you don't have like a hardcore gaming PC, but you have a beefy Mac because you like to do things like podcasts and video editing, then there's a game for you. It's called Cyberpunk 2077. You can try it out if you have a beefy Macintosh computer. I think they said like if you have to have like 16 gigabytes worth of memory and an M-class chip as the minimum. So we'll see. I don't own it, but if it gets real cheap one day, I might buy it on the Mac just to see how it runs. I kind of want to know. But they added a bunch of stuff to it. They added a bunch of new cars and quests for cars. So, I guess for far enough along in that game, like money is probably not much of an object, but they added in quest lines for the cars. And then a bunch of other things like variable refresh rate on the consoles, which is important if you have an OLED TV, or a variable refresh rate LCD, which I didn't realize they had, but they absolutely have. So it's cool. It's cool they're still working on that. Supposedly they're working on the next Cyberpunk. We know they're working on the next Witcher. We've covered that here on the show. Yeah. So a couple more quick things in the news, then we'll take a break. They did reveal the Zelda Movie Cast. So if you're into movies, and if you're into video games, and you're into Zelda, they're making a live action movie, and this is the cast. Here from IGN.com, Nintendo has confirmed the lead actors for its upcoming live action The Legend of Zelda movie. Zelda will be played by Bo Baragasson and Link by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. And so you kind of want to take a look at him like, who are these people going to be, right? So there's our Zelda in the BBC backdrop image from Getty. She's got kind of like reddish brown hair. Actually, I'm a little bit colorblind. I shouldn't comment on the hair color. But these are young people. And when you see Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, you look at him, you go, that kid's got to be like 11. I actually don't know how old they are. But you look at, they both look very young. And when you think about like the production timelines in these movies, they need to be, because if they're ever going to make a sequel, they're gonna keep growing fast. So it makes sense for them to be real young. And that's kind of like what's going on like with the new Harry Potter. They're making a Harry Potter show on HBO. They're remaking all the movies. And as someone who's like going like, oh, kids, like we're, if we're gonna go to Universal Studios, like maybe you want to see the Harry Potter movies. And they start watching the Harry Potter movies, and they're like, what is this? And it made me realize that the fact that they want to remake Harry Potter maybe makes sense. Make it for a modern audience. So here's the new image of Harry Potter. You see that they just released new images of like what a couple of the members of the cast are looking like. The new Harry Potter. He looks like a new Harry Potter. He's all in his little outfit, school outfit. Looks great. I'm so excited about this. This Nick Frost as Hagrid. Nick Frost looks like a great Hagrid. As a fan of the Edgar Wright movies that he was in, I got to tell you, like it looks pretty good. So they're going to get these new actors in. They're going to make them nice and young, or in the case of Hagrid, little Haggard. Haggard, right? That's when you're feeling like a little old and worn down. Yeah, so it's neat. Like it's neat seeing these things. So many of these shows and movies, the budgets get so big and the timelines are so tight, especially when you're dealing with young folks, because they're going to age up, and they've got to start recording them and stay on schedule. You can't do any of this Game of Thrones, whatever the new House of the Dragon, where it's like, well, we're going to record a season, and then maybe in like 2 or 3, 4 years, we'll get you another season, and maybe 2, 3, 4 years. No, stay on schedule, make it work. So, last bit of news here. Microsoft stops selling movies and TV shows. So I'd logged in Threads where everybody gets all of their news. Zach Burrows says, just got an Xbox notification that Microsoft will no longer let you buy movies and TV shows. It's a huge blow for people who were building a digital library this way. You can still watch what you've already purchased, but you can't add to it. This is why I still prefer physical media. Well, I think there's a really good case to be made for having physical media, but it's not always available on a lot of things. And it's definitely not convenient. Like it is not convenient to go like, well, let me look through let me go on over to the shelf and like try and pick something out. Like there is something about the algorithmic nature of going like, what's next? What was the episode I left out on? What was next for me? Like the Apple TV home feature. If you don't have an Apple TV, it'll kind of go, hey, across all the apps, including movies you've purchased or shows you purchased from like the iTunes store and any app that you subscribe to, here's a bar and it shows you where you last were. Can't get that with physical media, but they also can't strip the physical media out from your house easily, even though they might want to. Wario64 here on Threads says, as of July 18th, Microsoft no longer offers movies or TV shows for purchase or rent. You continue watching previously purchased stuff. So I'd never bought anything of that substance. I think they had one promotion they got me on where it was like, hey, if you buy one movie, you'll get like 8 movies free or something like that. I ended up with a ton of them. I connected them through the Movies Anywhere service so you could have it show up on your Apple TV. And that was kind of it, because if you are going to build a digital collection, I think there's very few places that you could trust to have it stay around. And I think Apple's probably the number one because of how long they've had iTunes around. But even still, like in the realm of how long you might want to be able to have an access to the, that 4K version of Batman Begins from 2005 or whatever, I might want to watch that 30 years from now. Like, am I still going to have my Apple account 30 years from now? I think so. I'm inclined to think so. I do not believe that Microsoft or Google cares enough to preserve their media content that long. The only reason I think Apple does is probably because of Steve Jobs and what he thought about and felt about the iTunes store. But you know what? Tim Cook might not be, well, none of us are, okay. None of us are going to be around forever. Tim Cook's not going to be around forever. Um, you know, I hope he lives a long and healthy life, and I do too. And if that happens and we live as long on average as we're supposed to, I'll outlive Tim Cook. And then who's in charge of my media library at Apple and making sure it's still accessible to me? Yeah, maybe physical media is still where it's at, but I bought Donkey Kong in digital because I wanted it when I wanted it. I didn't want to wait for shipping and everything else. And most of it's fine. I think there are like evergreen pieces of content um, that you might just want to go ahead and buy, especially if you go, you know what, this might not exist. The political landscape may change and this may no longer exist anymore. I was watching not Blazing Saddles, but another Mel Brooks movie, Spaceballs. For some reason, Mrs. B wanted to watch Spaceballs the other night, so long as put on Spaceballs. I was like, okay. I'm watching Spaceballs going like, I can't believe this. I can't believe they made this, number one, back in 87. And number two, I can't believe I could still access it unedited. And there's nothing that controversial in Spaceballs, but in Blazing Saddles, there absolutely was. Like, there's a lot of racial humor, and it was like, you could see a time. They put warnings on the front of content for, Disney movies now for Aladdin. It's like, hey, this is like offensive content and offensive beliefs and views that were put into this movie from 1991. And we just want to give you like a viewer warning. And so they didn't cut the content, but they have cut some other content, right? From Disney. Like, there's Disney content that you can't get anymore. No warning. Song of the South. You can't get it. And you can't buy it, you can't stream it, and the only way to get it is physical content. You might go, well, you know what? Screw Song of the South. I don't care. That's fine. You know what? The tropes that were in there actually are harmful, and maybe we shouldn't, publicize them anymore. They're taking out the ride they're updating. I forget the name of the ride, the log ride in Disney. We went there last year, and you couldn't go on the old ride, and the new ride wasn't ready yet. Fine. Like, maybe you are okay with that, but like, there will be media that you cannot access, and it won't even be because it's censored. It'll be because whoever has the rights to it went out of business. Nobody bought the rights to it. There's nobody to get the rights to it anymore, or nobody's interested in buying those rights. And so you will end up with things that are just out of print that you can no longer buy digitally because no one's representing it. And even if somebody is representing it, I think, what is it, 28 days later? I think one of those like zombie movie ones that you can't buy digitally and on purpose. So you have to buy a physical copy. Anyway, if you're buying movies on Microsoft's Xbox Marketplace, no, you're not. It's gone. Okay, let's take a break. I got some gaming stuff. I know, games. Can you believe it? Got some gaming stuff to talk about. I want to talk about some of the reactions to the Why Do We Play Video Games episode, and a little bit of news about a podcast voicemail. Stick around. Be back soon. It ain't all buttons and shirts, little albatross. Welcome back. There's a couple other small games. Maybe they're big games, but games that I played this week, just in the little interstitial moments that I had. Just want to talk with you about a game that I made a clip of the podcast of last week, called Mandrake. We talked about Mandrake briefly last week, and it went again viral for me, 7,000 or 8,000 views on TikTok. I put the little clips of the show out there, try and let people know that I'm here. And I had that's not what I wanted to show at all. I wanted to show off this Mandrake trailer, because people were like, well, you're talking about this game Mandrake, but then you didn't really show me what the trailer is. I was like, well, I don't have to show you everything. Come on, you can go search for it. It's fine. Anyway, this is Mandrake, and I was so impressed. This is important, from the creators of Sunless Skies and Sunless Seas and Fallen London. When I saw this, I was like, man, this game looks so good. What is this game? What am I looking at? and I was really impressed with it. And my reaction to the game, I guess, went viral enough. And the trailer's having trouble loading. If you're watching live, just bear with it or don't. I don't know. Maybe I can reload it. But it looks like a little whimsical, magical 2D and 2.5D isometric, not pixelated, like pretty realistic painterly art style, with all types of dialogue and character interaction and fishing and chopping down trees and making your garden. And so there's like a little bit of like otherworldly magic in this little gardening sim. And it's really great trailer. So you should go check it out, Mandrake. But then when I posted that, there were a lot of folks who were like, why didn't you just show us the trailer? Jerk. I was like, not everything's about you. Let me just talk about something. I don't have to show a trailer every time. But then there were a lot of people that came out of the woodwork that were like, oh, you're in for a treat. They haven't played the Mandrake game yet. They're like, you're in for a treat because this developer is so into writing and character development that we can't wait to see what they're going to do with Mandrake. And have you played, they would all ask me, Fallen London? I was like, what's Fallen London? What are we talking about? And so I went and looked it up. It is a browser game, a text-based browser game. And I'm going to share a little bit with you right here live on the show. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this. Fallen London, the developer just followed me on TikTok, so I'm going to say it's okay for me to show this. Let me know if it's not. But you sign up, and this game came out around, I don't know, 2015, and they've been building on it. And they have a little actions menu, a little candle burns down when you take action, and you can pay them some money to get 2 candles so you can take more actions. So if you're really into it, you can pay. And you could also pay if you want extra stories, but it's stories. So you're in this a second game this week about being underground. Donkey Kong was the first. Go down underground and find out more interesting things down below the surface. Also the same with Fallen London. So it's like a London underneath the surface of the crust of the earth. And apparently there's a lot of supernatural things going on down there. You wake up in a prison cell. One of your first characters you talk to might be a demon. It's hard to say. And basically you play by clicking through the story and making choices. So you do have a little bit of, you have some stats, like you have this stat for watchful, observation, intelligence, deduction, persuasive, pretty obvious, wit, charm, plausibility, dangerous, strength, ferocity, soldiering, and shadowy, stealth, subtlety, and cunning. So you have those 4 different characteristics. You have all types of possessions and plans, and they talk about fate. But let's just go on a quick story for a second. So this is where I logged back in, and this is where I was pretty early on. So I have this 5th story, which they say is like an extra story for like seasonal events. So I'm not going to mess with that. And the ones that are highlighted in blue are the ones that are like, hey, you're a newbie. Please go to these first. So first one up is The Matter of the Mail, a rap on your window outrageously early. So let's go. A brick-dusted urchin awaits. Any messages to send today? You inform her that there aren't. You've not had time to attend to your letters of late. She shrugs and clambers to the next roof to continue her rounds. Not 10 minutes later, the rap comes again. This time it's a surly bat also collecting mail and any spare crickets you might have lying around. No sooner have you dealt with that than the postman is downstairs. Why, half the city must be in the business of carrying others' messages. And so what can you do with that information? Contemplate your connections in London. All right, let's do it. It will cost me no actions. In Fallen London, you could send letters to other players to their benefit and misfortune. You can take tea with them, court them, and even marry them. You can also seek out help with your menaces, though that Gladstone bag may contain poison rather than bandages, or send the occasional gift. Alone, you can raise your attributes, meet with London's factions, and more. Look in your social engagements icon. So they're like, hey, there's like all types of role playing that's going to be going on with these characters. So if you're into, I'm going to say Bethesda games, role playing, Fallout, relationships, factions, like I'm still getting introduced to this game. And but there's no action, right? It's text based in the browser. it's a clicky game. It's a clicky ready game, but all of it is very whimsical. It's very interesting to see. Uh, you could pay for extra stories and stuff, but there's a lot there that's free. So if you are somebody that's like, what is Fallen London, like I was, and apparently all these other games are going to be part of it. So the Sunless Sea and Sunless Skies, which are more like games, they have a lot of story to them. But one of them you're piloting some weird train, and the other one submarine. There's a submarine and a dirigible, a blimp. Why did dirigible come to me first before blimp? What's going on with my brain? Anyway, yeah, Mandrake. I'm looking forward to Fallen London. I'm dinking around in there. The other game I've been playing a little bit this week, I played at least one big long session of it, was Risk of Rain 2. This came out on the PlayStation Plus catalog recently, this week, I think. And I did not know what this game was. I did not know what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be, I guess, like a top-down or 2.5D tactical game. Nope. I never played the first Risk of Rain. It is a third-person, over-the-shoulder shoot 'em up where you're fighting through these lands of weird aliens, and it's a roguelike. So you're unlocking all types of equipment that will boost your stats or let you do critical hits more often, or heal up, or maybe you unlock drones. If you're watching the video portion of this, I'm showing a clip of me playing where I have a healing drone, a missile drone, and an equipment drone. So the equipment drone, I give it one of the pieces of equipment that would like fire off something special, and now it fires it off for me. So that means I could pick up a different piece of equipment and fire off a different piece of equipment. So one of them I ended up finding was like a black hole gun, and you could fire a black hole that will shoot across and suck enemies into it, which is great because then you can hit, that grouping of enemies with like a missile or something that has a area of effect attack, and have it be really, really effective. But then when you get the equipment drone, it'll start firing off, which could be good and bad because it'll fire off whenever the cooldown on the black hole is, it'll fire off a black hole. So it's not always maybe the most advantageous time to fire off a black hole. But the fact is you can then go pick up a different piece of equipment, and now you're in charge of that equipment. Your equipment drone is in charge of the black hole, and you get more than one equipment drone. So I don't know if there's any permanent. I like my roguelikes to have, hey, you've unlocked this new thing permanently, or you've gotten stronger eventually. I want to see the numbers go up. If the roguelike doesn't have the numbers going up, I don't know what we're doing. Where if every, in a true rogue sense of the game, if every run is potentially the same as your 1,000th run, I'm not happy. I want my 1,000th run to be way better than my first run. So I want to have that sense of meta progression across, not just during the run, but also afterwards. So this was fun. Like the music in it, which I'm not going to play here, because I don't know, I'm worried about music copyright, I guess. I'm still such a new creator. I don't know what's okay and not okay to play. The music in this, if you're into electronic, like chill out, lo-fi, like it has some cool music. I think the music was the thing that I enjoyed almost as much as anything else. But after a couple of runs, I was like, I've unlocked, during one run, I had the multiple equipment drones. I ended up with this, it's like wings, like it's not an ornithopter or helicopter, but you end up with some wings where you can do some flying around, out of your backpack. That was really cool. I like that a lot. So there was things that constantly changed the game, and I was like, man, this game's got it going on. I like that game a lot. So Risk of Rain 2, it's out there on the PlayStation Plus game catalog, probably all over the place. There's so much show. I can't believe like we're at an hour already. I'm out of time. I'm out of time to talk to you about the rest of the stuff that's in the show. So we're going to save some content that I would have put in the show for later. But there's a couple things I don't want to skip. I can't skip it. We got to talk about it. Briefly, I watched Superman. And if you like James Gunn movies, you had a great time at Superman. I did not bring my children to it because I've had a great time at James Gunn movies that I would never take my young kids to. And I'm kind of glad I didn't take them. People online were like, oh, no, you could take them. It's fine. I think they're fine to watch this movie at home where I could skip a particular scene where Lex Luthor does something unconscionable. And aside from that, I think it was fine. So we could do in the movie theater, but like they execute a guy, like Lex Luthor, like Russian roulette's a dude. And they pull way back when it happens, but like it's a big deal, He just does it to a civilian. I don't know, but Lex Luthor, bad dude. Some of the portrayals of Lex Luthor in comics and other shows have been like, hey, yeah, he's bad because he will do what it takes to get after Superman. And sometimes he's more of a pragmatist where it's, he shows pragmatism in this movie too, where he's like, no, I'm really just about the goal and whatever. But he's so goal focused that he'll do anything to get to the goal. And it's a little much. Like it makes him kind of irredeemable. But I said that about Peacemaker, who was irredeemable in the Suicide Squad movie, and James Gunn managed to redeem him through the Peacemaker show. So maybe Lex is actually redeemable after all, but some of his actions in the movie were like, glad I didn't take the kids. So when that one comes out on digital, I'll show it to them. But it was great. I would like to see it again. There's a lot going on. Like many of the modern movie introductions that have been good in the last 10 years, they don't go through the whole origin story. They just start and they go like, they did the origin story in text. Hey, 300 years ago, 30 years ago, 3 years ago, like here's what's been happening in text. And then everything's going. Other superheroes, the Justice Gang or League is out there. There's other superheroes. The fight with him and Lex, unbeknownst to him, Superman and Lex, has been going on and brewing for a long time. So you kind of start in the middle of a lot of stuff going on with the assumption that there's enough information about Superman out there that it's fine. And it is fine. And they didn't make it a 3-hour movie. I appreciated that. So 2-hour and 12-minute movie. But there's some stuff you just miss. I wanted more Perry White. I like that actor. I wanted more Perry White. I didn't get enough. I've been watching the old, the 1978 Donner movie and Superman 2, Superman 2, and there's a lot more Perry White in there. And I didn't get enough. I wanted more Perry White. I got a good amount of Jimmy Olsen. He was in there. So, but there's so many characters. If you tried to map it out, you're like, there's probably like 30 characters in here that we're all supposed to care about or know their names. And it's tough to do that in 2 hours. But then, they had these moments where it's going viral. They're going like, oh, the scene where Lois and Superman, Lois interviews Superman is like 12 minutes and it's just dialogue and there's no action. There's no explosions. Nobody's flying. There's no superpowers, just them talking. And and James Gunn has said that was the risk he was worried about, was doing 12 minutes of a living room dialogue scene in the movie. And it was a little bit long, but the pacing of it is like he was willing to slow things down to do the character bits. And it doesn't always just have to be 90 miles an hour all the time. So I thought it was great Superman movie. I have more to say about it, but I think I want to watch it again first. Yeah. Okay. I promised that I would say that I am setting up a podcast voicemail. I learned from Podcasting Business School, who I follow on Threads, and this podcast is not a business for me. It's necessarily, but I'm not trying to sell you anything except enjoyment of the content. Please follow me, like, subscribe, whatever. Go to the patreon.com/the show and subscribe to never miss an episode. It's free. Anyway, I get a lot of ideas because I want to interact with all of you that are listening. And one of the ones he shared with me was setting up a podcast voicemail. So if you're listening, go to the Patreon, sign up. I'm going to send out an email with a link to the podcast voicemail. So your voice, if you'd like, could be heard on the show. We're going to do viewer mailbag, community mailbag, community voicemail, technically, where you can call in, on the website and leave a voicemail that we could play on the show and answer your questions. So if you're interested in that, be on the lookout. I'm going to send it out to the Patreon subscribers first. All free members. Everybody's going to get a chance to do it. And then I'll start to broadcast it more widely. So if you're interested in that, you'll get your first shot at it by being part of Patreon. I also bought some TikTok stuff because I'm enjoying All the comments are on TikTok. So if you don't follow me on TikTok, you can. I know there's like too many calls to action, but it's andrew.m.b, just like it is on Threads. You can follow me over there, and you can do these. I post shots of the, clips of the show up there. 60-second clips of the show, and plenty of them are going viral for my account size. And a lot of people have things to say, and I want to reply back, but I'm not always in the studio, So I got I bought one of these like a gimbal for the phone. So you can put it on there so I can just do some walk and talk and replies. And I got one of these tiny little microphones so that my voice doesn't sound like garbage through the iPhone. The iPhone is microphone's fine, but when you're holding the iPhone at a distance to like record your face, well, it's not the same. And of course, if you've ever seen a screenshot of me or a video of me, some of you just listen on audio, and that's great. I want the audio to sound great. And the reason it sounds great is because I have this microphone right up against my voice, right up against my mouth box, where all the magic happens. So you can hear everything. And without that, it's just going to sound worse. And so I've got the tiny little handheld microphone. So I'm going to start doing some video replies to comments on TikTok as time allows. So looking forward to that. That's some community spotlight stuff. But on TikTok, there were some people that responded to my "Why do we play video games?" And I just wanted to read some of them because I thought it was like, why are we playing video games? What's going on? Like, why do we do this hobby? Mick Masher said, "I work hard. I'm raising a family. Money's tight. The world is on fire. But that hour and a half or so at night after my kid goes to bed, and my wife's sitting next to me reading or scrolling her phone recharges me mentally while he plays video games." I think that's cool. Gerardo de Loera 407 says, "To chill, play with friends, have fun." That's it. So like social game. It's been a while since I've been like a social gamer online. I used to love playing with some of my OG friends, but schedules get rough. Project Equinox. Listen to this one. "At the risk of sounding pretentious, the reason I play games is for the soul within. Going into a project, a game, a show, everything exists with the collective help of a group of people who have their own soul, so you can see in their work. So when a game loses that soul, I can feel it, or if it never had one to begin with, that detracts me from playing with it." So I think that's kind of along the lines of what I was saying last week, which is that like when you read it from an author, when you read a book, their brain is going to your brain. Mind meld, right? From one writer to a brain. And when you do it with games, it's like all of these creative people have come together to create something for you. And some games are stupid and fun and just goofy and just for the gameplay. And then some of them are like really trying to tell you something and really interacting with your brain like a book. Rika says, "I play games for the experience, the joy, engagement, and an immersion of being part of that experience. They're fun." I like this one. "Number go up. I also like filling bars on my games, XP bars, leveling up. Some people like the storytelling. Some people told this Gibbish down here told this deep story. Man, I had a harsh reality growing up from the age of 5 to 10. Dad would drink and either ignore me or pass out for hours, seemingly every other day. My mom had to work long hours just to make ends meet along with my dad, and in between all of that, they would fight and scream. And even though they did that in other rooms, I could hear them clear as day. I did have friends that could play outside, but they weren't always there, and one day I was introduced to video games. I started with the SNES, the SNES, and then games like Grand Theft Auto and Metal Gear Solid, and it all helped distract from the reality I was in. Wow. Like a true escape. Like that is escape. Hard home life, parents fighting. This was an escape. So I said, "Hey, I wish you all the best. It sounds like you had some hard times, and thanks for commenting." And he said, "Oh, no. Like that was the past. Listen to this good ending to this story." He says, "My mom and dad did separate, and there were hard times with my mom as well as my dad. But my dad stopped drinking forever ago. I forgave him because he fixed himself, and my mom has done this as well. Thankfully, games are now just a fun hobby of mine." So that is really warms the cockles, right? Like you love to hear about a good end. So Yeah, that's the show. Kind of an extra long one. The longer these go, keep doing over an hour. Some of the folks that listen have said like, an hour is great. An hour is where I like it. I love a good 3-hour podcast, but I could do it. I got the energy, I got the topics, but not the time. Maybe someday. Make this my full-time job. Everybody go subscribe to the patreon.com/AndyB show. It is free Patreon. There's exclusive stuff there that you'll get if you're a free member. There's exclusive stuff there that you'll get if you're a paid member, if you want to support the show. But if you never want to miss anything, go to the patreon.com/AndyB show to sign up. And what did we talk about today? We talked about, the copy of Game Informer that I still haven't cracked open that I'm about to. Donkey Kong Bonanza is out this week. Maybe there's another Nintendo Direct coming. Maybe there's a Fallout 5 coming in like 10 years. I talked about the updates to like the Zelda movie and the Harry Potter Game of Thrones, Harry Potter cast, and that is not going to be on a Game of Thrones timeline. Talked about Fallen London from the people that are making that Mandrake game, that web-based browser game is Fallen London. Mandrake is this new Steam game that's coming out. Risk of Rain 2 and how you too can jam out to music that I didn't let you hear, but did try and describe in a roguelike game. Talked about Superman, why people play video games. Look out for the podcast voicemail and maybe some TikTok reactions. We'll see if I'm ever a TikTok star. I don't know. And what are we going to talk about next week? I would love to talk about spoilers as a concept. I've been learning that people are speed running spoilers. Like they're getting them on purpose. They get enjoyment out of getting them on purpose, which is way more than me just saying, oh, when you hear them, hit yourself with the mantra of, I can't wait to see how that happens so that spoilers don't affect you. But some people aren't just like going like, oh, I have a way to deal with spoilers. They're going, I want to know more about them. So I want to talk about that next week. Probably more Donkey Kong Bonanza and whatever else I've been playing and whatever you send into the voicemail. So look out for the voicemail box for the Andy B show. Thank you so much for watching. Can't wait and listening. Can't wait to see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye.